Yo, what's up, guys? So this one is called the Blacklist, the annual list. Um, I just want to explain a few things from my perspective, and I think there needs to be like some distinctions about that, the blacklist. But I want to say at the top, like everything I say in this video, it's kind of controversial, and it's difficult to break this subject out because I could very easily see people getting offended over what I'm gonna say if they took it out of context, you know. So I want to say at the top, my point is not that these writers are failures. That's not my point. My broader point is that the studio system is failing these writers, you know, because they've proven that they've written good things, great things, amazing things by the amount of people that are like, that was my favorite script all year. So kind of like, why the fuck isn't it getting made, you know? But I want to break out a few things so that people understand what the you know, there's some newer, greener writers that don't really, doesn't seem like it, that they get like what the blacklist is, because some writers, it feels like they're kind of like, shucks, I didn't make the blacklist. So the thing there is, you don't necessarily want to be on the blacklist. That's not the goal there. The goal is to get your stuff made and sold and made. And I don't know any agent that would say landing on the blacklist is a victory, like something that should be celebrated is the point. And then, you know, people could say, well, you're trying to rain on the parade. No, I'm not. No. Why not? Because there is no parade for being on the blacklist. Like, you know, figuratively, there's a parade if you win the nickel, that's winning something. You know what I'm saying? And so it almost seems like at this point that some newer writers think that winning the nickel and landing on the blacklist are kind of the same thing, like both victories. It's not. It's landing on the blacklist is kind of better than nothing, you know. It's kind of like, hey, I'm glad that someone or multiple people liked my script well enough to say some nice things about it. That's cool, you know, but it's not actually a victory. It might turn into one, like at some point, and I hope it does for these writers, because let me say this. My ex, at minimum, has had 4 clients on the blacklist, and I asked my ex, do you want your clients to end up on the blacklist? And she said, no, hell no. No, I want their stuff to sell and get made. That's my job. And I said, do you read the list when it comes out, the nickel winners? And she says, no. I know who I rep. You know what I mean? Like, I already know who I rep. And so, like, and I never heard her say like, oh, the blacklist is coming out in a little bit. Like, I can't wait to see if my clients are on there. You know, no, never. You know, on the day the thing comes out, her and a bunch of agents like her are like, yeah, cool. Anyway, so and so maybe someone says, congratulations that your client's on the list. They're like, what? Congratulations. They're like, okay, cool, thanks. So yeah, back to the deal. You know, and there's distinctions that I think need to be made about that, you know, and look at what it's called, the blacklist. You know, blacklisted, a term that's historically negative, you know, but they did turn it into something positive, which is trying to push writers back in your face, like, why, you know, it's dealing with a negative thing. It's essentially, the studio system is not interested in original material from writers. So the blacklist is like basically asking, why not? Bunch of people like it. you know? So be clear as fuck on this point. I am not trying to put any writers down, okay? I'm merely trying to make a layered point that it's not the victory that some writers seem to think it is, you know? What else? Another distinction is managers. Like I said, let me say this first. Like with the 4 scripts that my ex had on there, that's minimum. She's maybe had more on there. I don't know. But I know these 4 scripts were on the blacklist because I read them and I gave notes on some of the shit. But out of those scripts, only 1 has gotten made, which was Gangster Squad. The other 3 that I know of for sure did not get made. And you know, one of those scripts I really felt it should get made, and I'm kind of surprised it didn't get made, which is LA Rex, you know, which I did give some notes on to thin it down. I thought it was a badass script, but just a bit too, you know, dense. I think that should have got made for sure, you know. Has like the Training Day sort of vibe to it, which is why probably he ran Training Day as a showrunner on that. And coincidence, I was up for Training Day to be a staff writer on it. Long story I won't bore you with, but my ex refused to reach out to him, and also dropped all my meetings before I could meet with them. So that's that story in a nutshell. But back to the blacklist. Managers, like the distinction there, I don't think agents really give a shit if their clients are on there. It's kind of like, oh, that's nice. That's nice of you to say nice stuff about my clients, but I'm actually trying to put that together to be a movie, to come out and get made. You know, this is the goal: getting your stuff made, not being on some list. I mean, like I said, you don't want to be rude about it and like, fuck you, you know. It's like, hey, thank you for acknowledging. But at the same time, can any one of you guys make it then? How about that? You know? Well, then they're like, yeah, we kind of don't do that. You know, we don't really make original shit. So it's kind of like, is this really a victory? Is it? But it's different for managers, I think, because for managers, I can see why if their client's script, like, this shit, it's like, if you're a manager, you're going to develop the script with the client, and then you're trying to get them to an agent so that the agent can do the transactional shit, right? But if they don't get an agent, or even if they do get an agent, and the script doesn't like get traction and, you know, get on the greenlit is what I'm saying, then yeah, I think it's a manager's job to go out and campaign to try to get it on the blacklist. You know, do I think that's unethical? No, not a bit. You know, and I know managers campaign for this stuff, and I think that's actually their job, to try to put light on their client any way they can that is legal, you know. And people might forget that they read the script, right? So then the manager calls them up and says, hey, you know, blacklist is coming out, voting's coming up. Just want to remind you, you read my client's script and you loved it. You said it was one of the best scripts you read all year. So just a reminder, can you go ahead and vote for that, please? You know, so I think that's good managing, you know. I'm not saying anything negative about that. But on the flip side, I think agents don't really have time and don't care about that part. So like I've said, agents and managers do 2 different things, really. Similar overlaps, but not exactly the same. What else? I was confused. Let me try to hit the gas. I was confused when I saw a picture of someone who was nominated. I don't even know what it's called. Was it nominated? I don't know. Voted highly, whatever you want to call it. They had their picture and had a like cake and said "Welcome to the Blacklist," and there's like 3 people in the picture. And I'm not talking shit on these people. I'm just saying I was confused about what their message was in the picture. And one of them was holding a bottle of wine. Camus, shout out to Camus. Shout out to you guys for having good taste. Okay, there's that. But at the top of the picture, there was like welling eyes, and like that emoji. And I'm like, I don't know if they mean I'm about to cry because I'm so proud, or I'm about to cry because it's just a reminder that my stuff is probably not going to get made, you know. And I want to drown my sorrows by drinking some wine. I don't know which one that they meant, you know, because it wasn't champagne, which is traditional for like popping the cork. So I don't know, man. They might have meant either one or both, maybe. That's how it hit me, is kind of like both. It's kind of like winning and losing at the same time. It's kind of like as an analogy, you're kind of like you're going up for like the draft in like a sports league, and then you don't make the cut, and then they have a vote, and they vote you one of the best players to not make the team. That's kind of what it's like. You know what I mean? So what else? Also, I thought it was confusing. I don't know if you saw the little cartoon that the Blacklist did. It was a little, excuse me. It was this little cartoon, and you know, breaking out like how writers like write their stuff and then send it off to the studio. And then the last picture was like a truck. The studio gates up, and the truck is like leaving the studio. And I'm like, are you guys trying to say like we write a bunch of shit as writers and then, you know, essentially send it to the studio and they're like, no thanks, get that shit the fuck out of here? Is that what you're saying? Because if that's what you're saying, I agree. You know, but you know, also it could be said that the Blacklist is turning around that truck and bringing those scripts back into the studio by, you know, which is a good thing, man. I think the annual Blacklist is a positive thing. I do, you know, and I think it's something that needed to happen to give writers that otherwise their scripts would die, you know, give them sort of another chance to see if something can happen with them, because you know, a lot of people like them. So I think it's a positive thing. I'm not trying to shit on that. I'm not trying to tear that down. I'm just saying there needs to be a bit of distinction there with kind of what it means to the industry and what it should mean to you as a writer. For me, would that be something I'd want someone to congratulate me on? Hey, I saw you on the Blacklist, like, congratulations. I'd be like, no, like, I mean, I'm flattered and shit, but it's not a, you know, we'll see, you know, like maybe someone will grab it. I don't know, but it's not like I won an Oscar or something, you know, no one handed me a check. I'll tell you that. So I think those distinctions, you know, need to be made. Lastly, I'll say this. How much time I got left? Lastly, I'll say this. I saw someone on a rep on the list. I looked at the list, scanned it real quick. I saw a rep that I know on there, and this is what he said to me. He said, "I'm a whore. I don't really give a fuck what the, you know, what the script is, as long as it sells and gets made." And to me, that's like, I appreciate the candidness, you know, I do. And so, you know, it's like, should you be offended by that? In my mind, I don't think so. in my mind, you know, if a rep came to me and they said, I read your shit, I thought it was garbage, however, I think I can sell it, and I think it'll get made, you know, do you want to sign with me? I have a strategy to take it out. I'd be like, yeah, let's go, dude. Knuckle bump. I don't give a fuck if they don't like my shit, you know? What's an example of that? I don't know, Sharknado, you know? Was Sharknado on the blacklist? No, why not? Because it got made. That's the entire point. Later, guys.